in November of 2020, I was introduced to Mr. Yohannes and his team through Transamerica. And I'm just going to say it like this. And you guys already know, some of you guys have been in this. It's been a match made in heaven, all right? So I really thank him for coming out and being here with us today. It was a great honor to have him show up. And with all else said, Yohannes is going to take it from here.
All right. Nelson, thanks for having me. I was telling him this is sort of what finally, we met at the end of last year. Was it? Yeah, December of.
It was like December or?
Yeah, November, December.
Yeah.
What an odd time, right? To be in.
Right.
My role was travel 3 out of 4 weeks, about 100 nights in a hotel, and we parked that for a long time, right? When this event came up, I said, and the company started to approve sort of piecemeal travel, like, hey, individually, if it's merited, it kind of goes up the chain, and this was my opportunity, my first opportunity in a year and a half to travel, which is exciting, but very well worth it, and the right event for us. And the reason is, Nelson and this group here are really trailblazers for us, and I'll get into that in a second for why that is and why we're really excited about this group and what it represents for the organization. So again, my name is Yohannes. Been in the industry since 2009. I live in Charlottesville, Virginia, originally from Ethiopia. That's the funny name, is Yohannes Worku. That's the Ethiopian name. I'm a city boy though, so I've seen lions in a zoo. My wife grew up in Kenya, and like her dog was eaten by a python, so like she's sort of the real African. That's my extent is really all zoo and city. So that said, been an amazing business to be in, and did anybody in here, by show of hands, say when I grow up I'm going to be an insurance agent? Yeah, there's always one or two. There always is. Typically if the parents are in it, or you just have that vision, right? But most of us ended up here by chance, by some kind of chance, right? And then we end up staying in it though because we see the opportunity it represents, right? And also we see the difference that it makes, right? The presence or absence of life insurance, of some of these plans, right? In families, in businesses, and it's profound what difference it makes. My first lesson was the absence of life insurance, and it was something that, honestly, somewhat kept me up, right? So being where I'm from, growing up, you would see kids that were like me, but they lost their parents, and so now they're going from home to home. They tend to be the help. We just didn't have that scheme, right? So it was almost like, wow, what a nightmare to lose a parent, to lose somebody, and somehow it wasn't connecting with me, the concept of, okay, what is it that we do? And it's solving that childhood sort of worry that I actually did. I remember instances that it kept me up. What would happen to us? And thankfully it didn't happen to us growing up, but man, right? People that it happens to, and what is the presence or absence of life insurance? What difference does it make? So with that said, Transamerica is, it's one of those, we can't be all things to all people, right? So that's something that over time in this industry, these companies got so big and they do a little bit of everything, and they do okay because they have money and they can do what they, but with the last 20 years with interest rates being as low as they've been, especially the last little over 10 or so, every company has gone through this, okay, we're not going to be good at being all things to all people. Right? So what is it that we're really good at, and let's really focus on that. So it's been a really good time for the industry really to kind of figure that out, right? So Tammy, I think was her name, the human rep, did a nice job, right? This was a business that most insurance companies were in. That was a business we were in, and actually our med sup rates were so competitive. And at some point we said, you know what, this isn't what we're really good at. Unless you're all into something, it's not worth doing. And then So for us, what that's meant is we're in the middle market. So at a time where the Prudentials of the world, the New York Lives, the Met Lives, now it's like Soupy's gone now, I think they pretty much got out of the business. these major companies either got out of the business entirely, or in most cases what they really did was Prudential went from 30, 40,000 agents 25, 30 years ago to 1,500, 2,000, all focused on the high net worth marketplace. And they've really exited the middle market. And we consider ourselves a middle market company. Now, don't get me wrong, our risk retention limit is well over 10 million. So, you do see the news story of the big case where there was somebody killed and Transamerica's in the mid. So we do a lot of high net worth business. We have that line, right? But our agency group, we love that business, and it seems like every other day now we hear more and more of it. And the reason is, when you look at life insurance a little bit differently, this IUL you guys have been training about, it ends up, you end up solving for more needs with it, and you end up writing bigger and bigger cases. But we consider ourselves a middle market company, and we consider ourselves in a shrinking industry where the average, when the average insurance agent in this industry is something like 58, 59 years old, looks a certain way, and it just has this profile, and it's just, and keeps getting older. Every year the average becomes 59, 60, right? We're investing big time in people that want to build a financial services practice. We don't think we have the answers to everything, so we love partnerships like this, where you guys have different carriers, right? Because you have different needs, you have different marketing, and some of the limitations of being in a corporate world is there's you can't trailblaze and experiment too much. So to us, this is our opportunity to power and to partner with a group that does all kinds of good things. We just watch, see the ideas, right? But and we try to empower. And really, a couple of notes I took back to Indy, right? Inda. You said the same thing earlier. Basically, when you're chasing, when you're after something, you chase it, right? And Tammy, I heard her say, there's things you do when you just want something really bad, right? And I just heard you essentially say a different version of that, right? So something that stuck with me. Here's a group that's after something. This is not an 8 to 5 group in this room, right? And so it's a different type of person. It really is, or it's a person with a different vision, right? But I also heard a number of people in the morning during the introductions mention about what you're here for, and everybody mentioned Nelson's vision, right? So I just have tremendous respect for men and women with visions, right? Clearly Nelson's a man of vision. This is a group that just is very clear to me. It's big things ahead. I've had a lot of success. It looks like you guys aren't going to talk about our trips here, but our conventions are a lot of fun, and can't wait to celebrate with some of you, maybe all of you, in Jamaica here next year. We'll talk about that a little bit, but really love the vision, love the group, and big picture for us, we used to be an employee agency group, so we just had all employees, and it has its advantages, right? Okay, you have certain things, the benefits, but again, you mentioned, Ray, there's a world out there where you can take care of business people, and and in a world of ACA and everything else that's there, benefits not a tie down anymore, and so you can really build a business. And so we saw that the employee business is really a declining market. Every single company was losing employees day in, day out in this business. And so we started 3 years ago, we said we're going to build an independent distribution. And from scratch, we had none of it, okay? When we announced it, I remember our president, our VP, Senior VP Wade Hampton, the gentleman I report to, he showed on the big PowerPoint, this is a big stage, maybe 500 people, a lot of the field leaders. I don't know where we were. We were in Denver, and he says, there's a steamroller picture of a steamroller, and then there's a chair. And he said, you can either be the chair, or you can be the steamroller. That's the industry. And we've made the decision as an organization, we're going to stay relevant, and we're going to build independent businesses. We're going to affiliate. We're going to closely affiliate and build independent distribution. And man, you could see people, you thought they were just like about to jump out a window, because all they knew, these guys, was employee building, right? So that's the SALT, the group we've been working with, you know, they knew employee agency building. And so what I really appreciated with it is, A, it respected all the people that were already employees. We respected all the relationships. We grandfathered everyone in, but we said from now on we're going to be, you know, we gave a big window of time for people to adjust and plan and retool. And we said we're going to start bringing in independent people. So people that were that were used to being drill sergeants, right? Because this is what you'll do because you're my employee and here's what you're here for. They had to change, and they had to change to really a voluntary army, right? So instead of, you know, when you're building a ship, this is one of my favorite quotes, right? Is don't teach people to collect firewood, right? Teach them to long for the immensity of the sea, right? So we had to, you know, tool from this is what you're going to do, here's how you're going to do it, to here's my vision. I want you to be a part of that. Let's build something great together. And that really has legs. So we've gone through some really interesting years. We've gone from 0 to well over $1 million every single month in independent production. Just this year we're above 30%. But when you look inside of that, groups like this, and as an affiliate director, I mean, this is for you know, our company has 3 zones, so I represent one of those 3 zones, and this is our top affiliate director group, and it's something we're really excited about building because we were doing individuals, but here, guess what? We've had some managing directors that adapted really well. But then we have many others that didn't. And the ones that didn't, or some of the ones, so what we realized is there's these business owners that we can partner with that already know how to bring a group together, how to pour all they have into people, and if we can partner with them. So to us, this is a very selfish affair, right? This helps us get our goals going, right? This helps us achieve our objectives, and we really think this is a really good match. So I agree with you, and really, really exciting for us. And just really fun to see, you know, we're used to a lot of the site atmosphere in like a very, very prescribed way, and yet to see this group that looks that's not your typical employee. It's a bunch of people with visions driving. It's just really exciting. So with that said, what are some of the things that we do really well, right? So you've done a lot of trainings with the IUL, and one of the things that we do well with is the IUL. John, we're the number 1 IUL company in the industry, and this is a big growing market. We're the number 1 company in that industry. I want to say now 7 years running. We're completely unchallenged in that market. Now there's other companies that are really good, right? But that's something we do better than anyone else, right? Now, what else do we do really well? We do solutions really well. We do that final expense market. We love it, right? Now, what happened is though, we have some self-inflicted wounds there. We changed some processes, and so we fell out of the top 5. Now we're working really to get back in. So at the end of the time, I do want to take some time and ask everyone here, what are things we should do differently on our final expense side, because we know it's extremely competitive. We know there's a lot of people that love it, right? But we know there's some things about it, like the graded benefit, or we know there's some things about it that we're actually actively revamping right now. But then the third thing we do really well is living benefits, right? Everyone knows about living benefits. It's the new kind of life insurance, right? You almost can't justify the old kind of life insurance anymore to somebody that can get the new kind. You just almost can't, right? It's like saying, you know, again, there are people that are good people that will have that still have flip phones. You ever run into them? Yeah, but they're good people, and they are there, and you know, there are always those. But you know, this is the smartphone of life insurance. The other stuff is really no longer relevant, honestly. And we are the number 1 provider of living benefit life insurance in this industry. So, term with living benefits. It really is on everything that we sell, right? Except for final expense, right? Term with living benefits, IUL with living benefits, which is huge. Whole life with living benefits, right? So that if you don't die, right? So what if I don't die? What if I, you know, get sick along the way? We know that the number 1 cause of bankruptcy in this country is what? It's illness, yeah. And it's actually a lot of times the indirect bills, right? It's not even the bills. Most people do have health insurance, right? So, well, that pays who? That pays the doctors, right? Who pays you in the meantime? So we have these plans now, where there's a heart attack, there's a stroke, there's end-stage renal failure, there's cancer. You can worry about the average 5 months off of work you will have if you're diagnosed with cancer. That's the average. You can worry about getting better. You can worry about chasing every solution there ever is, every treatment. Current, experimental, because you'll have the money to do that, you'll have the money to stay in your homes. And here's a plan that costs $30 a month. It's just $500,000 term. It just happens to cover that. It's just ridiculous, right? And how can you sell regular death insurance, life insurance, when that's available, right? So, and again, that's something we're very proud of. So, with that said, what I wanted to do is cover a little bit of some of our positioning around the IUL, and some of this you've already done and you've already seen. So I'd really like this to be, Marcia, just interactive, right? So any questions, ask, and we'll pause, or if it's something I'm going to cover later, I'll keep moving. One of the ways though, right? So we know about the traditional approach to life insurance is, yes, you do a fact finder, but the conversation is, hey, if the worst happens to you, right? We're speaking for the spouse, the business partner, the child, right? The loved ones, for whom, if something happens to you, it makes the world of difference, right? Well, now with living benefits again, we have a little bit of the selfish element too, because what else does it do for you? But I want to talk about how we position life insurance differently, right? So what else can you do, right? So I heard Linda say something about business owners that you work with. They make money, but you said, what don't they do?
Keep it.
They don't keep it. Why don't they keep it?
They spend it.
They spend it, so that's part of it, right? What else don't they do, though? There's another, we call it a certainty in life, right? Is what? There's two sure things in life.
Oh, they don't pay taxes.
The death and taxes, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That too.
They don't have taxes.
so, who said they don't have taxes? So that's the other piece of it, right? There's the Uncle Sam factor. Okay, there we go. So when people do make money, right, and when we help them keep it, and we all deal with taxes, right? So there's three attributes. So there's to the perfect retirement vehicle, really to the perfect money vehicle, okay? One is tax deductible deposits. What does that mean? You make $100,000, I'm just going to use that easy money, easy number. So, Tommy, you make $100,000, you put $20,000 into some kind of money vehicle. If it's tax deductible, what are you taxed on?
$80,000.
$80,000. So that's up front, right? So the perfect vehicle in the world has that. And then you take this $80,000, this $20,000 you put in, and it grows over 10 years to $50,000 or to $100,000. Okay? So now you've gone from $20,000, or you've been contributing to it, to $100,000. How much of that is taxed along the way? Right? So you ever get statements from your bank on an interest statement? Here's what you made, 3 cents on your gazillion dollars, because this is how it is anymore.
Right.
But whatever you actually make, if it's even your broker statement, you have to pay taxes along the way. Right. And that's that piece, capital gains, and just interest, right? Tax deferred growth would be where, as it grows along the way, you don't have to deal with paying taxes along the way. And then the third piece is tax-free distributions, right? So Tommy, that the $20,000 you put aside meant that you didn't have to pay taxes up front on the seed, right? Mm-hmm. So now that seed, that $20,000, turned into a harvest over time, over more distributions of $500,000. So now, are you going to have to pay taxes on that harvest? And that's the tax-free distribution. So the perfect plan has all those three things. You don't have to pay taxes when you collect, you pay taxes you don't have to pay taxes. You reduce your taxes only come up front, and along the way you're not paying. Unfortunately, right, there's no such thing. You know, there's always, there's some that do 2 out of those 3, but you can't get 3, right? It's like, well, there's a rule of contractors, right? It's like you can get them, they can do it in time, they can do something fast. I've been dealing with that, so it's on my mind, right? They can be reasonable, they can do something fast and on time, and they can do a good job, right? You can never get those 3 out of 3.
Yeah.
You'll get 2 out of those 3, right? There's always 2 out of 3 here. So, with that said, how does that work? So then, we can't really get to the perfect vehicle, but you can come close by bringing in a couple different strategies, right? So the one piece here is traditional 401ks, traditional IRAs. How does that work? Money goes in, tax deductible, just like Tommy's $20,000. You know, Aaron, if that grows, it's tax deferred, right? So you don't have to pay taxes along the way, right? So, but when it comes out, Lana, you're paying taxes, right?
Correct.
So along the way, you're paying, you know, once it comes out, you're going to pay taxes. That's your traditional tax deferred scheme. 401ks work that way, IRAs work that way. And then you have the Roth IRA. The advantage of that is you are taxing the seed, but then the harvest you don't tax. It's growing, right? So Cindy, when it grows, it's tax free. And then when you collect on it, you're also good. And the other thing I like about Roth IRAs, they're really good savings accounts, really, because you can always take from them. It's that first in, first out situation where whatever you put in, you can take out without tax penalty. So it works well. The cash value life insurance that works a lot like that. So, but why wouldn't people use a Roth IRA? Why would they use a cash value life insurance? So right here, you can always take more out before 59 and a half. And I say that, it's a little bit of a trick question, right? It's a really good answer. That's exactly right. It has its advantages and it doesn't have its advantages. But you know, there's people that always say, was term better? Somebody started with Primerica.
I did.
Cindy, you did.
I sure did.
So is term better or is whole life better? And there's just this battle, and it's a bit of a joke because you're like, well, yeah, term is good. Whole life is good. You know, it's like, are pickups better or Prius? You know, they serve different purposes. Like, it's just crazy argument, right? So I can't say this is better, but what I'll say is, if you've max funded your Roth, then you have the, you know, you can't contribute more to it, A. If you make too much, you can't contribute to a Roth. And 3, let's say you have a Roth or you don't have a Roth, but you have a life insurance need. Do you know anyone here that has a life insurance need? Like, right? It's like almost all of America. If they have life insurance already, they're already having to pay for it. So if you're already paying for this thing, and it's this amazing tax avoidance scheme, for the lack of a better word, yeah, it's recorded, that's too bad. But it's this amazing tax shelter, right?
Yes, tax shelter.
And you have access to it because you have a life insurance need. It used to be, before all the DEFRA, TEFRA, all these laws came into play in the 70s, 80s, and interest rates were so high, people used to, they would get a $5,000, $10,000 life insurance policy. They would just call it life insurance. It wasn't life insurance. And they would pile money into it, like hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. And they would just, it's called life insurance, so they did. So now there's laws around it where it has to be life insurance for it to get. But now if you're already needing to pay for it, why not use it for all these other things, right? So just, again, changing the conversation to taxes, right? Smarter planning, how do we keep more of your money? So with that said, you know, here's an example of how this might work. So here's the plan. We'll use, so Linda will use an example, $40,000 from a 401k, okay? You happen to withdraw it 1 year. What will happen, and this is you're retired, so, you know, 50 years from now, 1,000 years from now, you're retired, 25% taxes, right? If you're taking 40,000 out of 401k. And by the way, do we think taxes are going to go up or down in the future? Right? You know, it's just, again, sort of, even though we don't have that crystal glass, we kind of do in this case. So assume your tax rate overall is 25%, hypothetical, right? $10,000 taxes, and you end up with 30,000. Yeah, just simple math, simple situation, right? this is not a bad thing, right? But what if we diversify a little bit? Let's say you are contributing to an employer-funded or some retirement vehicle like this, but hey, you have loved ones, or you have business partners, you have people that depend on you, so you have life insurance anyway. So while you're at it, you're overfunding it, so that you can also protect yourself if you're diagnosed with cancer, if any of these things happen. But you could also, Marcia, protect yourself if the worst happens, but also might as well use it again as this strategy, right? As part of, again, optimizing your taxes. So in this case, if you just withdrew $20,000 from a life insurance plan, not taxed, so your overall tax amount is going to be lower because you're going to be in a lower tax bracket, probably, right? So in this example, you're 15% bracket. On $20,000, you're going to pay $3,000 instead of $7,000, or instead of $10,000. I'm sorry. So you have $37,000 in your pocket instead of $30,000 in your pocket for the same money, for the same contribution, same thing, right? So simplified, right? They say all models are wrong, some are just useful, right? So this isn't perfect, but this is useful because this does kind of mirror real life a little bit. So, any questions in this? And by the way, here's the other piece. We talked about critical illness. What about long-term care? I met with, and this is, we did benefits for this church, and meet with this pastor, and he tells me how he would have been the first person in his entire family line to receive an inheritance. The first person in his entire family in their history. And his dad ends up needing care. And, you know, enter nursing home, enter Medicaid. And there goes that first legacy that in that family tree that could have been. And for some, whatever reason it is, that really just made an impression on me. Because there's all kinds of stories, but here's something that, you know, someone works their entire life. You're about to be the very first person in your family tree that's about to receive an inheritance. And we know what kind of difference that makes in society. And what kind of legacy that leaves. And gone in a matter of just a couple of months, a few months, because, you know, there wasn't a plan in place to take care of that, right? Chance of us needing long-term care, 1 in 2. For our senior customers, 65-year-olds and such, chance of us needing it, like, I think it's 2 out of 3, right? So, huge need, and yet it's uninsured. Typically, most people don't have a plan. And unfortunately, that's one place that the insurance industry has failed pretty. When you look at standalone long-term care, what happened was they were like, the industry basically completely miscalculated, and they got out of, most people, companies got out of the business. They thought most people, well, you know, the people that got it, you always kind of assume certain numbers will lapse it. Well, everybody kept it, and then the costs were higher, more people used it than anticipated. So the solution that's really stuck, that's worked, has been, and what's really growing is these hybrid policies. What? Cash-strapped America, right? People want their dollars to do more than one thing for them. It's a hybrid plan. You're paying for life insurance, but if there's a long-term care need, you're accelerating the benefits. So, without getting into the ins and outs of this plan, it really almost doesn't make sense to not build in a long-term care plan if the person can qualify for it, right? If they can, you know, and again, if they have something to lose, right? If you have somebody with a home, right, with any kind of assets, let's build in some long-term care plan into what they have. Because they will make a big difference in their ability to have home health care when they want it. Because Medicaid doesn't always do that, okay? Yeah, Tom.
Yeah, I know. I have had so many different evolutions of the long-term care process. Is it still a requirement anywhere to have a special license for long-term care, or has that gone by the wayside?
For us, you don't have to have a long-term care license. You need a long-term care certification. It's like an 8-hour course. You know those courses that are really a half hour? Like, it's a CE. You have to have a certain CE. Most states require that before you can sell long-term care, anything in that state. But it's really not a big, imposition. Like, it's basically, you already have your license, it's just a CE class. Yeah. Okay. And Web CE, I think it's like $25 for a 20, you knock it out. Yeah. Just find it for your state. we know the cost of nursing care, home care, and the point of this is long-term care standalone is extremely expensive, and it's good. I mean, it's really good. A lot of people get it, right? It's had its issues, but it's getting fixed. When you need life insurance anyway, who doesn't? Like, it's like half of all Americans don't have any insurance, right? It's about 40-some%. And then of the ones that do, half of them don't have near enough. So chances of you coming to a home and finding they have a need, huge. But while they're at it, why not build in this $20 a month, $30 a month, that's really what it is, rider that can cover their long-term care needs, right? Why not build in this, the living benefits into it? And of course, why not build all the tax advantages into it? So without getting too much into it, the way it pays is this: if you have a $250,000 plan, it's 2% of whatever that face amount is per month. So it's going to pay you $5,000 a month. That's usually good for home health care, right? And even the way the benefits are paid out, they're very beneficial. And by the way, a lot of these plans, there's something called the partnership plan. Anyone familiar with that? Well, so the partnership plan, right? As part of it is if you planned and put something in place, then the state's saying if this plan is eligible for partnership, then they're saving you. If you ended up using $200,000 of your funds, and then you run out, and then you have to use Medicaid, state's essentially protecting that part of your estate. So you have, you save the state money, and they're going to honor that. They're not just going to take everything after. Does that make sense? So it's, yeah.
I think they take back the money you spent on the nursing home.
Correct.
Okay.
Say that again, sorry.
They actually take back the money that you spent on the nursing home.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
So whatever you spent with a plan in place, you end up getting back. Well, or your beneficiaries, right? Your heirs get it back. So it's a way, again, because it's like one of those things, the perfect, maybe not everybody can get $1 million plan, which shows here, that will pay $12,000 a month for life, or as long as this plan has existed, which is like 5 years. The average person, we all know the person that always stays in the nursing home, that always makes it. The average person's in 3 years. Actually,
It's 3 years.
it's 3 years, yeah. That's the average care. So that would take care of you. But if you are that person that stays in that, you just won't die. You just keep going, right? Amen. Good thing. But what happens if you do run out? Then you end up again, whatever amount your plan used. In this case, near $1 million in the one case. That's going to be part of your legacy to the even if the state takes over your care, you're good.
Yeah, I think that's crucially important because I have a client who was in the insurance industry.
Yeah.
And he had accrued over $1.2 million in retirement.
Okay.
And then his wife went into long-term care, totally devoted to his wife. I mean, saw her every day for 10 plus years.
Yeah.
She was in long-term care. But he depleted his entire retirement. All 1.2 million gone.
It's tragic.
Because long-term care expenses ended up on Medicaid living with his son. So he went from rags to riches, just dealing with long-term care.
Wow.
Because you could not qualify for Medicaid and
Because of
Medicare does not
assets.
pay long-term care. A lot of people don't realize Medicare does not pay long-term care.
That's right.
So they will deplete your assets until you actually literally have to go on Medicaid.
That's right. That's right. I'm trying to remember the Medicare. There's they pay for 30 days. There's a number of days. 21 days, and after that you're on your own. Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
So it's a huge deal, and these are solutions that sometimes you put them in paper. It's you forget the power of the contract, and what a difference it makes. So. Moving to a couple of situations, a couple of making it real, right? Real case studies, right? Well, like one you mentioned, right? Now you guys all know about the $1 Million Baby. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it, right? The only thing I'll do with the $1 Million Baby is it's twofold, right? It's a huge, for a little bit of something, $100 a month, leave a legacy, right? Set somebody up for life, right? The company professionalized it because this was a situation where I would say professionalized. The $1 Million Baby is a very popular concept. They took it, and now there's a whole deck called Gift for Life. And if you could, I don't know if this will let me, if you could take your phone and, I don't know if it will let you scan that. It will download everything for you, and I'll talk about it in a second. So, $1 Million Baby is basically, it seems magical and it seems impossible to take $100 a month into $1 million, right? And yet that's the magic of time, right? What it gives you is, it gives you the Gift for Life training deck, there's the agent guide, there's a really good video, consumer video. And the point is this, these are all things you could put on social media, but the idea here is, they're really good. I mean, just put the video up on Facebook. Put the video up on Facebook, put the brochure, there's a consumer brochure up, there's a number of flyers, and just say, ask me about the Gift for Life, ask me about the $1 Million Baby, and anyone that interacts with your post, likes it, whatever, right? Any interaction, try to convert that into a conversation and see what happens, right? And you know, it's such a good legacy. Grandparents love it, parents love it. This is 2009, essentially. So I have a boy and a girl. The boy, you know, it's one of those things, okay, they're born, I'm just going to take care of them because I sell life insurance. So I sold them life insurance, I sold me life insurance, right? And I just didn't think much of it, right? It's just, oh, another sale. A couple years in, my son has what we call an innocent murmur, right? So they thought it was an innocent murmur, just a heart murmur. He gets followed up, it's a heart defect. And, you know, it's one of those where you end up seeing, like, there's no symptoms, right? So you think you're fine, and you ever see these 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, all of a sudden they collapse on a football field? And that's what would have happened, right? Because what happens, there's a hole in the heart, so every time the heart pumps, some blood goes from the left to the right, and it has to work extra hard. And so one side gets enlarged, this happens. Anyway, I mean, it's too much detail there. But, bottom line, open heart surgery, amazing, because the surgery's on a Wednesday. I knew the surgery was very safe, so I didn't really feel that, you know, it's your son, it's operated, so it's tough, but you're like, it's safe surgery, so I have myself convinced. But then you think, okay, man, the recovery is going to be just imagine, you know, like this little Energizer bunny like laid up, right? So that was the tough thing. How is he going to be? Well, Friday, he's already sort of up and running and jolly in the hospital. Saturday, we're released already. And Monday, you wouldn't know this kid had surgery. Just for the longest time, we just had to kind of pick him up from his butt here instead of like from the armpits because he had that wound here. That's it. So he's fine, right? Can't tell he ever had it. You know, he's sometimes self-conscious about the little mark here. That's it. But what does that mean for insurance for him?
Can't get it anymore.
He can't get it. He cannot get it. I mean, he's going to be uninsurable for a long time, and then as he outgrows it, right, God willing, he's going to be insurable, but it's not going to be, you know, it's going to be impaired, it's going to be rated, right? Rated. So here's a basic plan we put on in front of him, right? $100 a month. And what does it do? Right? It's going to be worth $20,000, $30,000. It's going to grow with him his entire life, right? Maybe he'll be able to get other plans, maybe he won't. But man, right? So it's such a weight for me that he's always insurable now because he has this insurance that's going to keep growing with him. Right. So just what a difference. And this won't make you rich. They're little plans, right? But it opens the doors for so many others. It's that other, that saying, right? It's like the small sale and the big sale, treat them the same. This will open up a lot of doors. So that's the gift for life. So I'll just say this, right? Here's an example of a 40-year-old female, $525 a month instead of a car, or in addition to a car, maybe it's $400 on the car. She pays this for 15 years. And I'm going to really blaze through this. This plan, again, instead of, you ever see people that say, oh yeah, I put in 5% to my 401k, 10%. Well, how much does your employer match? Oh, they match 3%, right? Now, you can't be double, right? You got to contribute to the match. But once you're past that, right, now let's take control of it. And so, you can build in critical illness, if she has cancer, chronic illness, concierge planning. Have you guys talked about the Everest rider at all?
We have not talked about Everest at all. Which we'll
Okay.
have to get into it. Wait, that's a future thing.
Yeah, okay, but I'll just touch on it and I'll move on. So in this case, 10 years. This gives her 10 years of supplemental income, $2,500 a month. 500 bucks turns into that, right? And there's a reason I did 10 years. She pays for 15 years, but she's collecting for 10 years, and I'll touch why, right? $256,000 initial death benefit, over $300,000 of total income. So every dollar that this person, Cindy puts into it, turns into $3 of income, right? And tax-free, right? So this is tax-free income. So it's probably equivalent to maybe $4 of taxes. Beyond that, though, if there's cancer, 217, depending on severity, 200, this is assuming 80% life expectancy. It basically depends on how bad your heart attack is, how bad your stroke is, for how much of a check they write, right? 217,000 of critical illness, a check written. We've written so many of these checks, they feel so good to deliver. Because they're alive, right? You just met with them a year and a half ago, and you're delivering a check to help them while they're, it's amazing. And we're seeing more and more of that. $4,700 in chronic illness benefit. Let's say there's an accident or illness, now she has to have somebody take care of her every month. Or every day, right? Home health care or nursing home. Then chronic illness benefit. This is separate it's different than the nursing home or the long-term care, right?
Everything plan?
So it's like the $1 Million Baby. I'm trying to think of a better name for it, so I'll take suggestions. But I just call it the everything plan here because it really is for that 500 bucks, right? In this case, it doesn't have to be, by the way. You can build this in for different prices. But for this 40-year-old in this case, it literally, you're max funding it. It has everything, right?
Gotcha.
And then what else? The part of that everything is called a rider called Everest, or it's called a concierge rider or home concierge. What this one is you have to have at least $250,000 and above for your face amount, and it's built into any plan we sell. And things that it has, it has will prep. It's my favorite tool on this is will prep. So you can go online, and it's this really streamlined system where you can set up your will. That would cost you 500 bucks, 700 bucks, 400 bucks. How much does it cost to set up a will, living will, power of attorney, all of that, all those documents, right?
Wow.
You can do all of that, and it's the best tool there is. I've seen it I set mine up with an attorney, and then that was 8 years ago, and I went and did this last year, and it's the same thing. It's actually better. It's more digitized, mine is, I kid you not, kind of moldy now because I don't know what happened in the basement, but this is digital. But and then it has advisor assistance, document storage, funeral planning benefits. This is huge. You know how something happens, you don't shop. This is the worst season of somebody's life. They don't shop. You just go to the funeral. There's a huge difference in price, right? Just like there is in our business. And they shop it all for you. They have the biggest database in the industry, really. There's no other company that really does this. They have a huge marketing arm that does nothing but call funeral homes and find out their prices on everything. So they know what every casket, every headstone, everything that these people do, they know what it costs. And they'll tell you, okay, well, you'll pay $7,000 for the same thing here and $20,000, they'll tell you all of that. And so it's a really cool tool. There's 24/7 advisor assistance. It's immediate, you don't even hold on the phone. It's the coolest benefit. It's built in for $250,000 now. So that's the one piece, right? And then moving to, if somebody has a flip phone, you find out that they have a $100,000 life insurance plan or any kind of plan. You ever see sometimes it has money in it, it has a little cash value in it, right? So $2,000 a month in protection, for example, in this case, in long-term care is what you're building. So if you have this person that it's a 55-year-old non-tobacco user, $12,000 sitting in a policy. That ever happened? You ever see that? Okay. For the people, some of you are newer, but you'll see someone with a life insurance policy. It's good, it's fine, it has some money in it. And sometimes you leave it be because you can't get them anything better. They're not maybe even insurable, right? But if they're insurable, sometimes we like to say sometimes replacement's not a good thing, right? Is it self-serving? What are you really doing? Are you just putting somebody in at worst? And that's true, right? You got to see, is this really better for them? Because you're making a mess if you're replacing something not in their interest. But what I'll say is, for these 70s and 80s and 90s, a lot of these plans that were written there, you look at that mortality table, you look at the cost of insurance, basically they were built when people were dropping dead at 50 and 60. Like, you know, you know how many people you talk to, and my dad died when I was, but, you know, so when I was, you know, when he was 50, 60, and it's sad, we're mostly going to outlive them, right? You know, the people alive today are going to outlive their parents, mostly, not always. Well, the mortality tables have changed. So the cost of insurance is, you know, sometimes we see it, it's dramatically less. So the cost of insurance for a 60-year-old today, and for that same person in an old plan, so sometimes it is better for them to move them in. Now, but you got to be, you know, you got to be really careful about that, right? But with this IUL, you can 1035 exchange, you can transfer that money right into this plan, and possibly get them comparable or better cost of insurance, but also give them long-term care benefits because they didn't have that before. So in this case, it's $100,000. You moved $12,000 in there from this plan, and what did it do for them? Monthly premium of somewhere between $90 and $120 for $100,000 for a 55-year-old. But what else does it have? It has long-term care benefits of $2,000 a month built into it. So if anyone has to take care of you, you have money, you know, built into this. So,
excuse me, that's good. Now, from what time frame, from the time I signed up for 55 to the time that those benefits kick in?
the long-term care?
Long-term care.
Oh, that's immediate.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no waiting period.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's day one coverage. You know, like any life insurance, it's contestable for 2 years. So, you know, they can investigate.
Yeah.
But what I found is life insurance companies are looking to pay. They're not looking to not pay because there's reputational risk. So usually you're getting paid anyway.
Okay.
So, do you ever run into somebody that has a little bit of money set aside? They might even tell you, I'm not buying life insurance from you because I have this 20,000 sitting around or whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
That ever happens?
Yeah.
You know? So they're actually using it as why they're maybe not putting something in place. So typically, if you take an IUL and you dump 100,000 into it or 10,000 into it, or any kind of plan, right? How big does the face amount need to be to accommodate it? Usually it needs to be really big for it to still stay life insurance technically, right? Anyone sell a modified endowment benefit contract? Modified endowment contract? So I just want, anyone here sell an annuity? Okay, so selling annuities, right? If you like annuities, you'll love modified endowment contracts. And I say that if you see somebody that, you know, can qualify for life insurance, please think of this, okay? If you're insurable, Tommy, if this money is not in a 401k or an IRA, if it is, then, you know, it's qualified, right? You're not going to pull it into a life insurance plan that's going to create a taxable event. But if it's in a CD, a money market, and a brokerage account, and in a vehicle that's not qualified, think about this. Here's a 60-year-old grandmother, had $15,000 in a CD she wanted to leave to grandchildren. This happened just like a month ago, so this is very recent. Could have just gone to a regular, like she just left it in a CD, right? Or, you know, basically. Or, in this case, what did she do with it? She dumped it in a life insurance plan and made it a modified endowment contract. All that means is for purposes of death benefit, it's still life insurance. It's treated exactly like life insurance. But for purposes of pulling the money out, if she says, how I want the money back, it's treated like it's an annuity. So it's good, right? So it has the benefits of it for all the tax advantages and disadvantages, all the tax criteria of an annuity while you're alive, and all the tax advantages of a life insurance plan while you're dead. So, in this case, it creates a $39,000 death benefit. So she multiplied her legacy, right? And she still has access to this money. She can loan against it, she can pull against it. In this case, even after the surrender charges, right, of life insurance, 5 years in, she's back to over $15,000. So it's kind of like an annuity, but you have the death benefit attached to it. And And so when somebody has that, just run this, think about this. Real quick, another example here. I'm going to use, this is Henry. Bob, 60 years old, he's Bob. 100,000. 100,000 a savings account for 2 grandchildren. He could leave the 100,000 50-50, right? Or dump it in an IU as a modified endowment contract. It creates a 260,000 death benefit. So now they each get 130,000. But again, think of this. There's a lot of people that have money. They're not ready to part with it or lock it up. They may need it. They know they may need it. But they're not accessing it, right? They don't want to, they live on other stuff. They want it there just in case. And it's probably going to be part of their legacy. Here's a way for you to say, you can multiply your legacy. 1. If you need it, you have access to it. It's actually more liquid than most annuities. And 3, it's 260,000. What does that mean? It has long-term care.
Wow.
So built into it. Now you've taken this 100,000 and you've multiplied the long-term care benefit. And then, of course, here now, since last year we have efforts too. So you got all that concierge planning, everything here. So for this 100,000, you've multiplied the benefits, you've enhanced the legacy, and if he has an accident, or if he has any need for it, any emergency, well, he can just pull it out if he needs to, right? It's treated like it's an annuity where, any gain is taxed, but the rest is not. Tommy has it.
If you write something as a debt, does it have the same underwriting requirements as regular?
Yeah, it does. It's identical. The only thing is you need a MEC letter. The customer just needs to say, I'm okay with this being a MEC.
Okay.
Our only experience with MECs usually is when a life insurance plan gets overfunded and they get sort of a nasty letter from, not really, but a warning letter from the insurance company. Hey, this is about to be a MEC. Do you want it, right? If you want it for life insurance, it's really fine. It's a good thing, right? As long as, again, treated the same way.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Usually with this, we do what's called guideline premium. You're literally funding it right to the limit. So now it is a flexible benefit policy. So you can increase the death benefit with underwriting. So you can increase it, but you can't just dump money into it, right? You have to kind of go in and say, hey, we want to change the face amount from 260 to 400 or 300 or from 30,000 to 100,000 in order to add more to it. So you don't have to go get another policy, but you do have to modify the one you have.
Okay.
So if he ultimately plans to retire and use that money, then it should stay life insurance because it's first in, first out. It's basically tax-free. After he takes the withdrawal, then he can turn it into a loan. So you have all these benefits. Last thing will get our attention. $100,000 in this. What's that going to pay you?
That's the big one.
Yeah.
On an annuity, it might pay you $5-6 grand, right?
Right.
It's double here. Always
Right,
double.
right.
Always
It
double.
is
Because the
double.
target on this is 10 grand. You're paid double.
Right.
And they're way better off if they are insurable, if they qualify.
Right. So that would be considered more of a single premium whole life type
It's
of
exactly that, yeah. So thanks everyone, appreciate
So
it.
it's single premium, that's why there's no premium.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a single
So
premium.
once
You just put it in and that's it. It grows.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you a question. How many of you know who Kojak is or was?
Tell us about it.
Okay, that's my bad. So tell me what is Kojak? Did you know who Kojak is?
Yes.
Okay, you didn't. Oh, you're young. Okay, so for those of you who don't know who Kojak is, just Google Kojak. Tell us about us. Just Google him. Okay, so back in my time, it was a major show, and so for those of you who know who Kojak was, what was Kojak's thing? What is Kojak known for? Kojak's thing was he would say, "Who loves you, baby?"
Yeah.
Okay, so when I brought Kojak up, anybody want to? If you notice, I asked the question, what is Kojak known for? Even if you don't know anything about the show, you know that he what?
Bald head, lollipop.
Bald head and lollipop. I brought that up because do something that makes yourself memorable for your clients. Wow. Okay? Something as simple as a lollipop. Something as simple as a lollipop. Make yourself memorable. Okay? So I learned from one of the best when I started my career years ago. He said, people buy from people that they like.
Wow. Wow.
People buy. You don't even have to have the best product, but if they like you and if they trust you, then they will buy from you.
Wow.
Yeah, preach and teach.
They do not want to be sold. They want to see compassion. We're in a day, an hour, a season where there's so much going on and everything is real and relevant. And if we haven't been affected by the plague, as I call it, if you personally have not been affected, you know somebody, or you know somebody knows somebody that has. Okay? So we have to share ourselves with our clients, and then our clients will in turn trust us, and they'll open up and they'll share with you what their needs are. And from there, you'll be right in business. And when you find yourself in a slump, be that jumper cable. Who got the cables? Was it you? Who got the cables? You know, what do you have to do when your car is dead? You connect to another car, they give you a boost, and the next thing you know, you hear, and the car is running again. We need you to run. We need you to run like a fine-tuned machine. And if you get to a point where you feel like you need a tune-up, call one of your buddies. Exchange some numbers today. It's important. It's important. Sales is cutthroat. Do you understand? That is cutthroat. But you don't have to be cutthroat to go to the next level. You just have to do the right things. Did you all read the quote that was at the bottom of your itinerary? Did you? Will somebody read it out loud for me?
Your greatest resource is your time.
Okay. And guess what? You didn't waste it today.
Yes.
You didn't waste it. You invested it in yourself.
Everybody, look at your tables. You guys see this thing right here? When I saw this, I didn't know what it was. You guys tell me what it is.
Did everybody get one?
It's a back scratcher?
Everyone has one?
Back scratcher, what, anything else? What you think?
This is a gardening tool.
A gardening tool.
Well, you can't reach your kids if
I'm with that.
No, the actual, it's actually a gardening tool.
Right.
And the purpose of a gardening tool, why would we put a gardening tool like this on the table? What is this for? Exactly right. When we're working in sales, insurance, we're constantly digging. Sometimes it may feel like the dig is not working. There are many times when it feels like it's not worth it. I just dug over here, I just dug, and it was nothing but rocks. It's just solid. As long as you got the tool, you can go to another ground.
all right.
All right, one of the most famous books in the Bible tells, I said the Bible, I'm not preaching. One of the most famous books tells a story about a parable about a sower who sowed, and he had to sow on different ground. Put it in the ground. This ground was no good. This ground right here may have been good for a moment, then the birds came or whatever. I'm lazy. I'm tired now. I'm just gonna do a little bit and put this down here. It's nighttime. Birds came and ate some. This one right here. You know, it got choked out, you know, by thorns and weeds. And the story just continues to go on about these different types of grounds. There was more bad situations than good. But the fact of the matter is, he had the tool. And as long as he had the tool, he kept digging. He kept searching. And he kept digging. He kept planting. And some of it went into good ground. And that good ground had some good harvest, some very good harvest, and some very great harvest. That's the principle that I live by. And I've lived by it for the entire, how many years is that? Since 2009. The entire time that I've been working in this industry, which is no matter what, we get up, as long as we have daylight, we're digging. As long as I have daylight, I'm digging. I'm digging. I'm constantly digging. So let this be a reminder of what we need to do to be successful in what we do. As long as we keep digging, these results are going to happen. That's the thing. You're going to have some messed up people who are going to say, no, is this a scam? You're going to have that. You're going to have all of these different type of people. You're going to have people who come in and say, yeah, I want it. Yes, I want it. And then as soon as it's time to write them up, they don't answer the phone. That's going to happen. That's going to happen. That's going to happen. That's going to happen. And they may be your family member. I just didn't want to tell you, I really don't want that policy. I talked to George down the street. He said I can get it way cheaper than that. You know, but you're always going to have that. But we just keep digging. Keep digging. Keep digging. All right? And let this be a reminder of that. Okay? Now, if you want to use this as a back scratcher, you can do that too. All right? All right, but let this be a reminder. So put this in your offices when we're working. All right? Okay, and just to kind of rehash on what I just said, I've got a little video that actually Ray put this together. I asked him, can I use this? Because it was hilarious. Okay? And it actually just does the same thing. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on full screen so you guys can see that. This is Ray. Training to write big apps.
You got it.
Try again.
Harder.
We always do. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Let's go.
Okay, just going off of that was just a prime example of what we need to do. We constantly have to dig. It was just what we were saying. Just keep digging, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. We just have to keep doing what we're doing. All right. Before I go into the State of the Union, how you guys like these shirts?
Love them.
You love them? You love them? Great. Listen, one of the things that Ray did on there, he said network. Well, you got a self-networking shirt right here.
Right.
All you got to do, when you get tired,
Wear
you're not wearing your clothes, you're not making your calls and doing what you need to do, you need a break, go shopping. Put your shirt on. Put your shirt on. And then when someone asks you, what do you do? Oh, well, guess what? This is what I do. You know, let them come to you. You know what? And it's really, really funny. If they don't ask you what you do, then you ask them what do they do.
Yeah.
Reverse it. What do you do? Why you ask? What do you do? Oh, thank you. I'm glad you asked. You know? And that's how we do it. All right? So, yes, it's a networking shirt. Those of you who have them, we have those. You already have them. Those on the line. We can get some for you guys. Get that set up. Also, you guys see the beautiful polo style shirts. You guys have access to getting that. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And we have multiple different colors. I have the purple one on, and Olivia has red, and you see Christine has a black one. So we have multiple different things to help you guys. You can use that on your Zoom meetings. Okay? Zoom meetings. No more Levi t-shirts for me. All right. So let's go ahead with all that said. Let's get into the State of the Union. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Yes. All right. First of all, who are we? Who we are? Okay, we are an insurance brokerage firm that helps our clients understand and take advantage of all the benefits and entitlements offered through their insurance or government programs. We are partnered with over 45 top-rated companies to ensure our clients are offered the best solution for their needs. Our history. On July 13, 2014, I had a vision of a completely different type of insurance company. After logging 21,000 miles on my car from constant in-home appointments, we established the dream of being able to completely sell insurance without leaving up one remote spot. It was there that Life, Business, and Benefits was born. Our first office, we picked up the keys to our office in February of 2015. It was a great day. Look at me. I'm standing right there feeling all happy. Until this happened. After being in the office, I found out we needed some key ingredients to make this system work. Because just saying you're going to be in the office and you're not going to go out and see people, you got to find out how you're going to sell. Sitting in the office with no clients is just sitting in the office with no clients. All right. So after being in that office, we realized that we needed some key ingredients to make this system work. After many failed attempts, we learned what core concepts we needed to build on. Exclusive calling leads, unlimited prospects, excellent products to sell, low affordable costs to both the agent and the customer, and no drive time. I don't want to drive out this. Nobody else knows. All right? Now, at this time, I'm going to tell you, we were doing different things. We were putting mail. I remember I told you, I didn't tell you guys this, but I'm just throwing this in. We were in the office, and we had wrote like a bunch of letters. It was like 1,000 letters that we were sending to people turning 65. And she just looked there and she got so bored. I said, baby, I need you to just do this, fold them up, put them. And after she did like 10 of them, she looked and she was in there watching Netflix. And I said, what are you doing? What are you doing? And she said, this is stupid. And I said, I was was so angry. But she was absolutely right. She said this was very stupid. This was stupid. And that's where we came up with the core values of what we did. So we went to work after we found out what we needed. We created a sales tool and practices that had the same result after every presentation. Kept doing the same presentation, kept going, kept fixing it, kept doing things. After not having many calls come in at first, we created a marketing system that completely changed the game for us. On our first day of using that system, we had 65 leads come in one day. Wow. It's amazing to go from none to 65 in one day. So we kept doing this system, and we started going to the top. We earned trips and going to different trips. As you see, we were on a speedboat right here. We went on a cruise in Carnival. We were there, and there was another insurance company there, and they were really high. And when we told them what we do, this guy tracked me down all over everywhere, just to try to get me. He was like, "Hey man, what's going on? You gotta come with us." I said, "No, we got our own thing. We got our own thing." So this is us on our speedboat in the Bahamas. Also, we went four-wheeling in Cabo San Lucas. Okay, that was pretty fun in the mountains. And then we also went ziplining in Costa Rica using the same system. Now, I didn't pay for none of this stuff. The insurance companies paid for it because I was doing the same system. And then, you guys know, we just came back. We went to the Mardi Gras city of New Orleans on another trip using the same system, doing the same thing that we've always done. All right, so in 2018, after completing 3 years of consistent results in our system, we decided to expand our business by offering this opportunity to represent LBB to other insurance agents. But how many know you can't teach old dogs new tricks in most cases? Though we had a winning system, most agents were having a hard time understanding how to transition from being an in-home sales agent to being a telesales agent. And the result, we went through 85 agents trying to find the right fit for our model. So frustrating. One lady even blessed me out. She did. She blessed me out. She didn't curse. She was a Christian lady. She didn't curse. But she found every way to tell me off in blessings. You know what, sir? I hope you have a blessed day. Bless your business. You might as well just curse me out. So she blessed me out. It was very bad. Very bad.
She was a tough one.
Yeah, she was very tough. Very tough. So this was getting hard. After going through many failed attempts, I decided to just work for myself, not to expand, because agents were too hard to train. Even my closest business associates agreed with that idea of not bringing in agents to learn this system. I'm just going to pack this whole agency idea in. That's what I was thinking. And then one day I get a call from an agent who was wondering, were we still offering the opportunity? I told that agent no. I said, no, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm going to do things for myself. And after that, that agent said, you know what? I think this is a great opportunity, and I still want to be a part. I would love to be a part of it. After he said that, we moved on. Who was that agent? Ray. It was Ray. Ray talked me back into this thing.
Blame me, I'm
Ray talked me back into it, so. The show must go on, so we got back to work. After this reply, I decided we got to push forward in making this dream true. So we just kept on. The day the industry changed, early February 2020, a global pandemic was responsible for shutting down the entire United States of America. Business as usual was no longer existed. Insurance agents who were used to working face-to-face appointments were now forced to learn a new way to sell insurance to survive. Who did they turn to? Like business and benefits. We have been doing it since 2014, remember? So they turned to us. In December of 2020, we contracted with Tanny, which allowed us to increase the benefits we offer our agents. It was a match made in heaven. Thanks, Yohannes. Present day, this is where we are today. All right? In 2020, we had $176,000 of business put in. So, as of right now in 2021, we are at $250,000 of business sold, all the way together as an organization. All right, so we are up, right now in the month of August alone, we are up 474% above last year's numbers.
Wow.
Here's some more stats so you can actually see the numbers a little bit better. Okay. Everything in yellow is this year. Wow. Everything in green is last year. Mm-hmm. And everything in blue was the year before that.
Wow. Awesome.
All right, we're also doing more training. Okay, we've been training new recruits. We have a class. You guys, every one of you guys have been through. You all have been through our class. We have a system. You come through, we take you through class. We are now training recruits twice per month. We actually run 2 classes every month, and we have about 4 or 5 recruits that come in almost every time. Now, do they stay on class every time? Maybe not, but it is projected that we have about 2, 3, 4, 5 new recruits every 2 weeks. And we have a unique training program now being implemented to train these recruits in the use of our new all-in-one system. This training program will make it easier to sell multiple products and make their sales more effective. All right, so that kind of cat, he took the cat out of the bag, but it's okay. All right, we have a new system coming. All right, and training will start on Thursday. We'll introduce it on Thursday, and Monday we are going to be implementing our brand new all-in-one system. All right. On June of 2021, we introduced our $1 Million Baby marketing system. Since then, our agents are closing 75% of their deals with an average monthly premium of $175 a month on their monthly premiums. That's excellent. Excellent. We're on the rise. So what's next? Well, we took the thunder already, so we're going to say what's next. I'm happy to announce that Life, Business, and Benefits is introducing the brand new turnkey A to Z marketing sales system. Agents will now be able to prospect their clients via calls, text, email, social media, and more. Launch the presentation, start to finish, on all products. Access all sales tools, products, and companies all in one location, and collect referrals and give incentives to their clients all in one. Now you guys got a little taste of it. Did you see Ray's presentation earlier? Y'all saw that? That's part of the system. Just a little part of the system. Oh, am I pulling the thing up?
Yeah.
If I move up and this TV falls, I'll be all the way there. All right. In short, our new system will allow agents to plug in and just sell. No more confusion. No more confusion. Just read. Just plug in and sell. The training will begin soon. Stay posted, okay? I just told you guys when training gets started. We're going to talk about it on Wednesday, starting on Wednesday. Thursday. We're going to talk about it at 11 o'clock Thursday, 8 a.m., okay? And that is Eastern time for you people in California. All right? But we'll be talking about that this week, all right? And then we're going to start a brand new training class, so we have to really dig in and make sure you guys are completely trained on how to use the system. All right? Future goals. Okay, so where do we see ourselves for the near future? We've got open enrollment, October 15th through December 7th. We also have Obamacare annual enrollment, November 1st through December 15th. Okay? These are big times. Not just for them. We can sell everything. I did the majority of my life insurance sales during open enrollment.
Amen.
Amen. Open enrollment. All right? Is it open enrollment for life insurance? Yes, it is. It's life insurance open enrollment season. Every day, right?
And twice on Sunday.
More future goals. Right. Jamaica.
Yeah.
Jamaica. We all have the opportunity to make this trip. All right? And we plan on making it. This trip will be held through Transamerica. And that trip is going to be in,
I'll say March or April of 2022.
2022. March or April of 2022.
I'll pull it up.
All right. And while he's pulling that up, I'll move on to the
Last time we were out, every single qualifier had a personal assistant. Each two people had personal chefs. It's a crazy.
Wow.
You think 5-star and then some. They go nuts on it. They really go crazy.
Wow. Now I love convention trips.
Yes.
But I really want to go on this one. This is the one I want to go on. And that concludes where we are. Okay? So, where do I see we are? I see we're right where we need to be. Right in striking distance. We have the opportunity to go ahead and take advantage of this market. There's nothing that we can't sell. Everything, like Christine said earlier, that we did today was intentional. Nelson, why would you bring Medicare people in, healthcare people in Transamerica? To prove that we can sell anything. You just got to take it. You got to stop and listen to what they want. Let them come to you. They'll come to you. If you're having a hard time on the sales or phone, go to the store, throw your shirt on. I work from home, ask me what I do. What do you do? Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. You know? And then when you get them from being in the stores, then get back on the phones. Get back on the phones. Oh, what do you help with? What don't I help with? I have a solution for that. Child, I'm paying $400 a month for my health insurance. Let me help you with that. Let me help you with that. Let me help you with it. Girl, you know I need my teeth fixed. You do need your teeth fixed. So let me help you with it. Let me help you. What kind of savings are you doing? How are you planning for your future? What are you planning? Girl, I just lost $5,000 in my 401k claim. Hey, we got a solution for that. There's a solution for everything with what we're doing. And that's the part we want everybody to understand. I can help you. I can help you. Okay? And we are going to help people. We're going to help everybody. But we're going to help who we can, which is everybody. All right? So that concludes today. I do thank every one of you for being here. It is a terrific church. You know what I imagined crying at one of these events? I did. I was wondering what I cried.
In Jamaica.
Yeah, when we have the event and it's filling up the Coliseum and I have Tony Robbins and all those guys there, I'm gonna cry. But I do appreciate each one of you guys, okay? And without you, you have really, really bought into the vision that I have. When I got into, and I'm gonna close on this. When I got into this industry, I cared about seniors because I felt that they were always taken advantage of. Well, when I began to be in this industry longer, I started to care about not just seniors, but I started caring about agents. Because, like Christine said earlier, she said, some agents are really, really like cutthroat. They will cut your legs off. They will come at you, and there was just so much confusion. You know, when I first started, they just gave me a stack of cards and said, just call. Call and say what? But I sat here and I had a passion and have a growing passion to help you make a living. It hurts me to know that you can go out and make the money of doctors and lawyers and you can make the money of a movie star. But you don't, because you don't know how. And I feel that I have a passion that I've been called to help people, insurance agents, understand how to bridge the gap between not knowing and knowing. Okay? So education is the big thing for us. Understanding that our opportunity is far bigger than anything. You know? Do you guys know what it feels like to write $1 million annuity in one day? Do you know what that feels like? No. It feels good. It feels real good. But guess who else it feels good to? It feels good to me. But it feels good, it feels better for the client to know that what you did was far better than what they had it before. To go into someone's home and say, hey, why do you have this money sitting in your bank account? Do you know that if you die today, they're going to lock that? Well, this was my grandkids' money. Well, your grandkids are going to have to wait until probate. Why don't we move this and put this into a single premium whole life plan, or like the plan that Yohannes showed us today? Why don't we move that here? Turn this 100,000 to 200,000. You still have access to the cash. You still have your money. It's just worth more in this pocket than it is over here. You guys have the opportunity. You have been given the keys to the kingdom. It's just up to you what you do with it. All right. So with that being said, I appreciate everyone. Like I said, there's something that I do need everyone to do. If you guys are not contracted, this is the moment that when if you're in church, this is when you call them. This is when you call them to the Lord. We're not calling you to the Lord.
I tried everything else.
Okay, but at this moment, okay, pull it back. If you don't have your contracting with us, with Humana, or with Enrollment First, or with, what do we do? American National Standard Life, or big thing with Transamerica. Let's do it today.
April 28th to May 2.
Okay.
Okay.
April 28th.
Oh, cool. Now, I do have to ask one question before I close out, all right? And I want you guys, if you need contracting, I need you to email Sharon DeLeon. You guys know the number. If you don't have it, sdeleon.rodriguez@gmail.com. You guys got that? You good? And we'll get the contracts, whether that's Humana or Enrollment First or whoever else we talked about today. We can get the contracts to you guys so we can get you going. All right. Another thing, if you guys have not gone forth with Transamerica, now's the time. It's not too late to make this trip. I made that trip before in, I think, 5 months. I didn't know anything about Medicare. I just went out and I started selling as much Monumental Life as I could. Door to door. And I said, hey, do you have life insurance? And I sold it mostly to like younger women with kids in the hood, but it was what I did.
And now they're insured.
And now I believe they're still insured. I believe they're still insured.
We believe it.
You're right. But what I'm saying is this. You know, right now we have a pimple. This right here is going to be amazing. We just had the worst 2 years that I could remember in the history of this country, just being shut down like this. This has been a mess. We have to walk around with masks on and get vaccines and then get more vaccines and do all this other stuff. And we're shut down. We're talking about shutting things down just to be able to get past this and say, I'm going to Jamaica. And I'm going to lay back in the sun and I'm going to have fun. It's going to be a great thing. All right? I want to see everybody there. I want to see everybody there.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Now I know, I want to see everybody in heaven too. Even though we ain't gonna see everybody in heaven. No, I'm just joking. Listen, we're gonna strive. We're gonna push. But again, all right, so the mission that I'm giving, if you choose to accept, is today. It is August 17th, 2021. Your mission, if you choose to accept,
All right now.
is to finish off strong. If you choose to accept. You finish off strong, everything else will happen. That's all I have. Thank you guys.